Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in. She kissed her kids goodnight, climbed into bed next to the man she loved for 12 years, and by sunrise, she was dead, a bullet to the back of the head. But the real horror? Her best friend was wearing her jewelry at the funeral, and just 7 days later, she became the new Mrs. Jennings. Natalie Jennings was the heart of her community, kind, devout, and always smiling. As the wife of Pastor Marcus Jennings, she spent her life leading Bible studies, organizing charity events, and raising 3 young children. To the church, she was a living example of faith and grace. But to those closest to her, something had changed in the months before her death. Natalie had grown withdrawn. She was missing prayer meetings. She stopped posting family photos. And she confided in one close friend that her marriage wasn't what it looked like anymore. No one thought much of it until it was too late. Marcus Jennings called 911 just after 5 a.m. "My wife's been shot. Please, hurry, she's not breathing." First responders arrived to find Natalie lying in bed, face down, with a single gunshot wound in the back of her head. The scene was quiet. No sign of forced entry. No struggle. The children were still asleep in their rooms. Marcus told officers he had gone downstairs to pray and heard a loud pop. He claimed someone must have broken in. Perhaps a burglary gone wrong. But oddly, nothing was stolen. And Natalie was still wearing her wedding ring. Or rather, holding it, clutched tightly in her hand. Police noted inconsistencies almost immediately. Marcus seemed more concerned with arranging the funeral than answering questions. He refused to let investigators search his phone. He insisted on a closed casket, and when questioned, he quoted scripture more than he gave details. But what truly stunned detectives came just a week later, on April 9th. 7 days after Natalie's murder, Marcus stood in front of the Justice of the Peace and married Camille Byrnes. Camille wasn't just anyone. She was Natalie's best friend, her bridesmaid, her confidant, her children's godmother. Camille had wept beside Natalie's casket. She had helped plan the funeral. She had held Natalie's youngest child while comforting her. Now she was wearing Natalie's necklace, sleeping in her bed, and calling herself Mrs. Jennings. The congregation was in uproar. Members left in droves. Natalie's parents begged for answers. And online rumors began swirling. Was this a twisted love triangle? Was Natalie silenced? Had the affair been going on before her death? Police reopened the case. And that's when the truth began to unravel. Detectives discovered that Marcus had recently taken out a $750,000 life insurance policy on Natalie, just 6 months prior. The beneficiary? Not his kids, not the church. Camille Byrnes. And then came the biggest break of all. A former church member came forward, claiming he had overheard a late-night meeting between Marcus and Camille in the church basement weeks before the murder. What he said he heard shocked detectives. But just as authorities prepared to arrest Marcus Jennings for questioning, he vanished. No note, no suitcase, no trace. Gone. Police now treated Marcus as a person of interest. Investigators searched his office at the church, and what they found stunned even the most seasoned detectives. In a locked drawer they discovered a burner phone with hundreds of deleted messages, receipts for hotel rooms rented under fake names, and a typed sermon draft titled, "When God Says End One Chapter." But most disturbing of all was a handwritten letter, torn and burned at the edges, believed to be written by Natalie herself. In it, she wrote, "If anything happens to me, please don't let him raise our children alone. He's not the man you think he is." Forensic techs recovered messages from the burner phone. They confirmed a long-running affair between Marcus and Camille, dating back over 3 years. Camille often texted things like, "She doesn't deserve you. God put us together for a reason. When she's gone, we can finally be free." In one chilling exchange, just 9 days before Natalie's death, Marcus texted Camille, "We're almost there. Be patient. 1 week, and this storm will pass." Enter Daryl Phillips, a former deacon of Marcus's church. He contacted police claiming to have overheard something deeply disturbing. One night in early March, Daryl had stopped by the church late to drop off sound equipment. As he entered through the side door, he heard voices echoing from the basement. "She's in the way. Once it's done, we don't look back. We pray, we cleanse, we move forward." Daryl swore it was Marcus and Camille. He didn't say anything at the time, afraid of what might happen if he did. Police believe this basement conversation may have been the planning of Natalie's murder. Police now had the three pieces of the motive puzzle. Lust, a long, secret affair between Marcus and Camille. Money, a massive life insurance policy with Camille as the beneficiary. Escape. Marcus wanted to preserve his reputation, but also start over without divorce or scandal. They believe Marcus killed Natalie while she slept, staged the scene, and counted on the community's blind faith to protect him. Then came a tip from Mobile, Alabama. A gas station clerk recognized Marcus from a wanted poster. He'd stopped in late at night, using a fake name and paying in cash. Security footage showed him with Camille, both wearing wigs, heading toward the Gulf Coast. By the time police arrived, they were gone, but a hotel receipt found in the trash suggested they were headed for Mexico. The manhunt was now international. Back home, Camille's phone was seized and a deleted video was recovered. In it, Camille films herself crying, whispering into the camera. "He promised me we'd be together. He said it was God's will. But now I don't know if I can live with what we did." Before she can finish, she looks off camera, eyes wide, and shuts the video off. The question now isn't just where they are. It's whether Camille is still alive. Digital forensics uncovered a deleted video recorded on Camille's phone just 2 days after she and Marcus disappeared. In the shaky, dimly lit footage, Camille speaks in hushed tones. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I loved him. I really did. But he said we were chosen. He said Natalie was in the way. He promised no one would get hurt except her." Before she finishes, she looks off camera and whispers, "Wait, is someone there?" The video abruptly ends. Police believe Camille may have been trying to confess, or even signal for help. Interpol joins a manhunt after tips emerge that Marcus and Camille may have crossed into Mexico using fake IDs. They were last seen driving a rented gray SUV outside of Laredo, Texas. Inside a nearby abandoned motel, police found a Bible with highlighted verses about cleansing and sacrifice, hair dye bottles, a crumpled engagement ring box, and most chilling, children's drawings with Marcus's name scribbled over and over. Were they planning to reunite with the kids? Or worse, take them? Then, an emergency call came in from a remote village near Chihuahua, Mexico. A woman identified herself only as Cammy called a local station saying, "I can't run anymore. He's not who he says he is. Please, just get me out of here before it's too late." But the call was cut off mid-sentence. When authorities arrived at the location, they found a cabin burned to ground. No bodies. No Camille. No Marcus. Only ashes. And one partially melted necklace. Confirmed to be Natalie's. Back in Charlotte, people began questioning everything they knew about Marcus Jennings. He had preached about purity, loyalty, and the sanctity of marriage, while living a double life fueled by lust and greed. More witnesses came forward. A former church secretary said Marcus sexually propositioned her multiple times. A 16-year-old member claimed he was manipulated into silence after confronting Marcus about strange late-night meetings with Camille. Church funds were found to be embezzled, with thousands missing. It was no longer just a murder investigation. It was a cult of personality, built around a man who believed he was above both law and God. Just when police feared the trail had gone cold, a new email arrived in the inbox of Detective Clarissa Holt. Subject line, "Confession," sent from a VPN-protected IP in Guadalajara. It read, "I never thought I'd fall in love with a murderer. I didn't know he'd actually go through with it. But now, I'm scared of what he'll do to me too. If you want to find me, look for the girl who lost her faith." See, detectives believe Camille is alive and may be turning against Marcus. But before they could respond to the message, Marcus made his move. At 2:14 a.m., Natalie's parents received a voicemail from an unknown number. A man's voice said, "She broke the covenant. You'll never see her again, and neither will they." Then silence. FBI profilers are now involved. They believe Marcus Jennings fits the profile of a malignant narcissist. Charming, controlling, and obsessed with image. But what sets him apart is the religious manipulation he used to justify violence. Former parishioners recalled sermons filled with phrases like, "God demands sacrifice, obedience above all else." When one soul corrupts the vision, that soul must be removed. One member even remembered Marcus saying, "Some people mistake murder for mercy when God pulls the trigger." This wasn't just a cover-up. This was indoctrination. Detectives began focusing on the phrase "the covenant," which Marcus mentioned in the voicemail. Digging through old church archives, they found a private men's ministry journal, written by Marcus himself, called The Cleansing Path. Inside were disturbing handwritten passages. Every great man of God must prune his tree. The old bride must wither so the new can bloom. Only through fire does purity return. They also found 3 initials. MJ plus CB equals divine union. Police now believe Marcus convinced Camille that killing Natalie was part of a spiritual ritual, something he called divine replacement. Then came a breakthrough. A woman named Serena Alcott reached out. She had dated Marcus 6 years before he married Natalie, and ended the relationship after what she called a terrifying shift in his beliefs. She claimed Marcus once made her fast for 3 days, then forced her kneel while he anointed her with oil and told her God commanded them to create a blood covenant. When she refused, he told her, "You're not worthy to be my Eve." She fled the state. Until now, she had kept silent out of fear. Interpol released surveillance footage from a roadside hotel in Durango, Mexico. It showed Marcus alone, no Camille, check in under a new alias, Pastor Eli Matthews. He wore a cross necklace, sunglasses, and appeared to have dyed his hair. Cameras caught him burning something in a steel barrel behind the hotel. A woman's purse, torn fabric, and what appeared to be a charred Bible. Authorities feared the worst. Had Camille become his next victim? Around the same time, a new blog appeared online titled, "Awake in the Wilderness." The author? Eli Matthews, the alias Marcus used. The blog read like a manifesto. The world judged Noah until the rain came. The bride fell because she doubted the prophet, but the prophet will rise again with or without her. Some posts were marked with cryptic symbols, including one police identified from Natalie's murder scene, a cross drawn inside a triangle, smeared in lipstick. Investigators now believe the symbol represents a sacrificial covenant Marcus created between himself, Natalie, and Camille. 2 days later, a fisherman found a waterlogged cell phone in a lake near the Durango border. Forensics are attempting to recover its contents, but early reports suggest it may have belonged to Camille Byrnes. The final notification visible before the phone shut off completely? A draft text message. One line, "I think he's going to kill me too." Digital forensic teams spent 72 hours recovering what they could from the damaged phone, found near the Durango border. The device was confirmed to belong to Camille Byrnes. It contained dozens of deleted text drafts, GPS pins marking remote mountainous locations, voice memos, some only a few seconds long, whispered in panic. But one file stood out above all, a 13-minute video diary, dated just 3 days before she disappeared. In the recording, Camille sits in a dimly lit cabin, pale and visibly terrified. She whispers into the camera, "I don't know who to trust anymore. He's not the man I loved. He hasn't been for a long time." He says Natalie's death was a test, that we're the new Adam and Eve. That blood was the price for our future. She begins to cry. He watches me sleep. He won't let me leave. He says if I try, he'll do to me what he did to her. Camille turns a camera to show a carved symbol above the bed, a cross inside a triangle, bleeding red candle wax. She ends the video with a whisper, "If I don't make it, please don't let him get away with this." Days after the video was recovered, a local villager in Zacatecas, Mexico, contacted authorities. He claimed he had seen a strange man digging late at night near the edge of Lake Malpaso. The man was singing, at him in English and mumbling something about rebirth through fire and water. Police immediately searched the area and made a horrifying discovery: a makeshift altar built from driftwood and stone, charred pages of a Bible, and buried beneath the soil, a woman's shoe burned with blood traces inside. DNA testing later confirmed it belonged to Camille Byrnes. With Camille now missing and presumed dead, the manhunt for Marcus Jennings became the FBI's top priority. Two competing theories emerged. Camille was murdered by Marcus after threatening to expose him. Camille may have helped stage her own disappearance, out of guilt, fear, or loyalty. Why? Because surveillance footage from a roadside camera taken 24 hours after the altar discovery showed both Marcus and a woman who looked like Camille boarding a cargo truck headed south. She was wearing sunglasses, hair dyed black, and she looked straight into the camera before boarding, expressionless. Was it her or someone else? As investigators scrambled to verify Camille's status, a new voicemail was leaked to the media. It was allegedly left on Natalie's sister's phone 2 nights prior. The caller whispered, "You think this is over, but it's just the beginning." The lamb had to fall for the lion to rise. The voice matched Marcus Jennings, and the call traced back to Guatemala City. Interpol issued a cross-border alert. The Jennings case officially became an international manhunt. Back at Lake Malpaso, divers made a final sweep before ending their search. They pulled up one last item from the lake bed, a small wooden box, sealed shut with wax. Inside was a child's drawing, Natalie's youngest son's signature in the corner. On the back, written in red ink, "Forgive me, Mommy." He said this would make you proud. The small, wooden box recovered from Lake Malpaso stunned investigators. Inside was a water-stained crayon drawing, signed by Noah Jennings, Natalie's 8-year-old son. On the front, a stick figure of a woman with X's over her eyes, lying in a red bed. On the back, scrawled in red marker, "Forgive me, Mommy." He said this would make you proud. Noah, a psychologist working with the FBI, said the message was a clear sign of coercion, possibly ritualistic manipulation of the child. But here's what shook agents to their core. Noah had never been reported missing. All 3 of Natalie's children were believed to be with relatives in Charlotte. Had Marcus somehow reached them again? The very next day, Charlotte Child Protective Services received a chilling call from an anonymous woman. He came back for them. He said they need to be cleansed. Like their mother, you need to check on the girl. The girl knows what he did. Police rushed the home of Natalie's sister, who had been caring for the children since the murder. The children were present, but shaken, and when asked privately, Natalie's 11-year-old daughter said something that stopped everyone cold. Daddy told Noah to draw that picture for Mommy. He said Mommy would be watching from heaven, and if Noah did it right, she'd come back. Investigators now believe Marcus had re-established contact with the children, either by phone, secretly in person, or through a third party acting under his orders. Psychologists describe it as prophetic grooming, a dangerous form of religious psychological abuse where victims are convinced that obedience to the abuser fulfills a divine purpose. The children describe Marcus as holy, chosen by God, able to talk to Mommy from the sky. One child even claimed, he said we had to be quiet or God would take us too. This wasn't just murder. This was generational indoctrination. Spiritual abuse of the most disturbing kind. Then, another tip came in. A woman in San Cristobal de las Casas, Mexico, contacted authorities after discovering a duffel bag left in a church confessional booth. Inside, a blood-stained Bible with Marcus's handwriting. A photograph of Camille, bound and blindfolded. A cassette tape labeled Revelation Chapter 3. The tape contained only Marcus's voice, reading, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any hear my voice and open the door, I will come in. But those who deny me, I shall cast into fire." At the end of the tape, one final whisper, "The lambs are ready." Despite fears that Camille was already dead, investigators now believe she may still be alive, held captive or complicit under psychological control. Facial recognition technology confirmed that the woman seen with Marcus days earlier was Camille, but her blank expression and bruised wrist suggest she may be his prisoner. Interpol expanded the search, issuing an emergency red notice for Marcus Jennings. Wanted for murder, kidnapping, fraud, psychological abuse of minors, and religious extremism. And then, just hours before this episode was recorded, Marcus Jennings resurfaced in a newly uploaded YouTube video, posted to a hidden channel titled The New Covenant. Marcus speaks directly to the camera. The world tried to silence the prophet, but the prophet shall rise. The children are safe. The bride is restored. And judgment is coming. Behind him, a blurred silhouette, tied to a chair, sobbing. The video, titled Revelation Begins, was uploaded at 3:33 a.m., a time Marcus frequently referenced in his writings as the hour of awakening. In the footage, he stares into the camera with glassy eyes, hands clasped in prayer. My bride is returned. The lambs are safe. The blood has been spilled. Now the world must listen. Behind him, a woman tied to a chair, gagged, crying. Authorities believe the woman is Camille Byrnes, alive but clearly restrained. At the end of the video, Marcus holds up a matchstick. The final offering must burn. And then the feed cuts out. The FBI, Interpol, and Mexican authorities launched an immediate global search operation. Thanks to metadata recovered from video upload, agents were able to triangulate a location, an abandoned mission compound in the mountains outside Comitán, Mexico. Elite tactical units moved in. What they found inside was worse than anyone imagined. Inside the mission house, walls covered in Bible pages, each marked with red paint, a makeshift pulpit, splashed with blood, children's clothing folded neatly beside a baptismal bowl, a burned pile still smoldering in the center of the room. And in the basement, Camille Byrnes alive, weak, starving, but breathing. Camille had been held captive for at least 11 days, possibly longer. She was dehydrated, bruised, and emotionally shattered. But her first words to police were clear. He was going to burn me alive like he did Natalie. Camille revealed that Marcus had planned a second ritual, one he called the cleansing by flame. He believed Natalie's death was only the first sacrifice, and that Camille's body had to be purified through fire to complete the covenant. He also said he wanted the children next. Just as officers secured Camille, gunfire rang out in the woods behind the compound. Marcus had been watching from the trees, armed, paranoid, wild-eyed. When authorities demanded he surrender, Marcus dropped to his knees, arms raised, and began shouting in tongues. Suddenly, he reached into his coat and pulled something out. Officers opened fire. Marcus Jennings died at the scene. Clutched in his hand, not a weapon, a cross carved from Natalie's wedding ring. The Jennings children are now in the full custody of Natalie's sister and undergoing trauma counseling. Camille has entered a psychiatric facility. She is cooperating with authorities and is expected to testify in civil and criminal cases involving fraud, emotional abuse, conspiracy to commit murder. The church Marcus once led has been dissolved. Its former members now call themselves survivors. And Natalie Jennings, beloved mother, wife, and friend, was laid to rest a second time. This time, her children chose the words on her headstone. She loved without fear and deserved so much more. Marcus Jennings wore the mask of a man of God, but behind it was a monster who twisted faith into control, love into obsession, and devotion into death. In the end, his house of lies collapsed, but the wreckage he left behind will haunt those he hurt forever. Rest in peace, Natalie Jennings. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.